Hi, my name is Phil. I like to talk about politics, and in this video I'd like to discuss the concept of Boris Johnson's post-Brexit spending promises and how we need to judge the reality of what he does and indeed how we do that, and not just what he says he will do. But first of all, if you'd like to be notified of daily news and politics, then please subscribe to the channel and click the bell notification icon. So this was prompted by a little comment that I got on the channel. It's normally the sort of thing I'd put in the weekly political post box, but it's such a classic that I thought, it's worth talking about in its own video. And the comment related to the massive spending on infrastructure that Boris Johnson is promising for the UK, which, your first thought about that is, yeah, that's got nothing to do with Brexit or the EU. The EU don't stop us spending on infrastructure. Just because we haven't been doing well, we've had Conservative governments, that's really more to do with them than the EU. But the general statement about look how much he's going to be spending post-Brexit gets to the heart of the way that the Conservatives keep getting elected to power. Because what they do is they promise the earth and people go, great, we'll vote for that. And so then they get into power, don't do it, and then another general election comes along, and then they promise the same thing. And the people go, great, we'll vote for that. They don't say, hang on a minute, you promised that last time and you didn't deliver it. People have very, very short memories. And in fact, if you want to have a good laugh, what you should do, get the Conservative Party manifesto from 2010, 2015, 2017 and 2019. And of course, there will be differences. But you will see things in all of those four manifestos that are the same thing that at no point has this Conservative government actually delivered on. They just use them over and over and over again. And, this is why I actually think it's really, really unfair to say that the Conservatives are anti-green policies. They're so committed to recycling, at least of policies. So when it comes to Boris Johnson's massive spending promises, it's important to see what he actually delivers. And that should be a sensible enough strategy to adopt when judging any government. Well, let's see what you actually deliver, not just what you promise. But Boris Johnson has form. We don't need to wait to see. As Mayor of London, he had the capacity to spend large sums of public money on infrastructure, albeit on a smaller scale to the UK in general. But this was London. It was a very, very large scale by anyone else's standards. And what did Londoners get out of it? Was it marvellous to behold? No. They got a cable car across the Thames, which is the worst way of getting across the Thames. It is literally worse than any other single mode of transport that existed before it for getting you across the Thames. Essentially, this is the way Boris Johnson spends public money on infrastructure. What he's like an abusive partner who takes out loans in his girlfriend's name. And then what he does is he takes the girlfriend out to dinner with her own money that she doesn't know she's even spent yet, and then spends the rest of it on himself or on taking his bit on the side on expensive foreign holidays. And the poor girlfriend's got a dinner out of it. It's actually her money, she didn't realise. And she's going to be lumbered with the borrowing, with all the debt. And that is ultimately what he's like when it comes to the public finances. And we know that because he's been in that position before. So when we're looking at Boris Johnson's spending promises, what do we actually need to look for? Because we could take the view, well, maybe he's learned, maybe he's going to do it better this time. The old tribe. So what we're going to look for, first of all, we need to see the money. It's all right promising a load of money. Where is it? Show me the money. But we also need to know where it's come from. So was it raised from taxes? Have you raised taxes? Or have you just massively increased borrowing? And it's important to note that about the massively increasing borrowing. I'm not opposed to government borrowing. Borrowing for spending on infrastructure can work, but it's important to see what that actually means long term. If you're going to borrow to stimulate the economy, grow the economy, then as the economy grows, you naturally generate more tax receipts. You can then spend that on paying off the debts. That's how it's supposed to work. That's Keynesian economics, that you borrow in hard times and then you pay off in the good times. But that's not what the Conservatives have been doing. They have massively increased our borrowing since coming to power, but they haven't spent it on growing the economy. So the economy wasn't able to generate more tax receipts, and we were never able to pay it off. So borrowing remained sky high, unlike in Germany, where they've now got it down below the 2008 levels. Then the next job will be to see where the money goes. And I mean that in two ways. First of all, how many jobs is it actually going to generate? How many people are going to benefit from this money? It's no good if this money is just going to be shoveled into the pockets of already wealthy people and we get no benefit in terms of better jobs or more jobs. Now, judging that will be made more complicated and therefore more more time consuming, because the government control the release of the figures and how the figures are defined and all the rest of it. The second thing, which will be easier to find out more quickly, is which regions of the UK will that money be spent in. Because it's all right saying you're going to spend so much money as if it's all going to be evenly distributed around the country. We know it is not. His promises don't seem to include much spending in the north of England, Wales, Scotland, Northern Ireland. No change there then, of course. So once it's been determined where the money has gone, you then need to examine the results in terms of boost to the local economies. Because you spend a load of money in economy, right then, has that economy actually benefited from the money, or did you just give it to, did you just basically put all this public money in a brown paper bag and give it to a billionaire in that place, in that part of the country? In which case that part of the country doesn't benefit. So, for example, I'm in a part of the country that turned from Labour to the Conservatives. Classic part of the country where Boris Johnson should be keen to show some benefit from voting Conservative. So in a few years' time, as we gear up to the general election, how will my local economy have changed? He will boast about all the spending he's done, whether he's done it or not by then, because people don't know. But what difference will it have made to Humberside, which is where I live? And going on past form, it is quite likely that Boris Johnson will have just done, as Prime Minister, what he did as Mayor of London. He will have talked up a load of projects that will have cost public money to do feasibility and start and all the rest of it, and were then cancelled before they even started. There'll be other projects that are begun and then abandoned. In fact, on past form, I don't know about a bridge, but we may end up with a zip wire line between Scotland and Northern Ireland, and that may be it. So I hope you found the video interesting. If you did, don't forget to click the like button, and if you'd like to support the channel further, then please also click the Patreon link for details. And until next time, I'll see you later.